Summertime. Så du mine, jeg vild med dig. Summertime. Honey, solen danser, du og jeg. Hver evig eneste morgen,
Hi there, and welcome to your modern shaman, Maria in Rainbow Land. This is your weekly astrology forecast for all signs, and the collective report for the week commencing at the 19th of June until the 26th of June. So I'll probably edit this so that you see me sitting here, but you also see my journey from my house and all the way down to the shrine. I'm back in Tokyo, and I'm wearing the headphones because I want to make sure that the sound is all right. And these are my curtains. This is my way of blocking the outside world when I need to focus and concentrate because things are going on here, people are parking, etc. So here behind me you see the shrine. If you're watching me sitting here, and if you're still on my journey, you'll see it in a minute. This week is interesting for several reasons. We have the solstice, meaning that we are going from spring into summer. Then we have Neptune stationary. Well, that already happened at the end of last week, Monday, because it's gonna go retrograde. But it's so slow, such a slow planet, so it's basically stationary all week. Then we have the sun moving into Cancer, which is also pretty significant. We already had Venus moving into Leo and Mercury moving into Cancer last week. So just for the record, then no matter where you're watching this, I am also always making a video for each sign. And after this report you will see my weekly contribution, which sometimes is dancing to one of the songs that we wrote and made. I'm a musician, I'm a composer and a songwriter as well, singer. And sometimes I'm making, fun little acts and play-outs of how signs are acting to different situations. Last week it was how the signs would react to getting a fine, and birds using the car as a toilet. So I try to make it fun, and it's not only a report, it's also a program. But you can always scroll across these sections if you only want to get the report. I also make each sun sign. So if you are in another sign, you just go to the channel Maria in Rainbow Land and find your sign. It's on the top of the playlists. Always, I put it all up there always so that you can find it easily. Okay, so let's see what it means, what I just described to you. As we have the solstice and us moving into summer, while Neptune is stationary. This is the first thing I want to focus upon because, in my opinion, this is one of the very important things, since it's only it's retrograding 4 to 5 months a year. So this is something that happens rarely, whereas Mercury is retrograding 3 times a year. And what does it mean? What does it mean when Neptune stationing and moving retrograde? Well, Neptune is a planet that reveals our connection to what's known as God, popularly speaking, Creator, the universe, whatever we want to call it. It is this planet that dissolves any boundaries or limits between you and the outer world. It does so that you can feel one with all there is. If it's positively aspected to your sun, moon, or rising in your horoscope or in your personal chart, it of course has a much greater significance to your personal life. So depending on how well you know your own chart, this can be more or less significant in your life right now. I hope the sound is all right, because people are talking here. The nice Japanese people, sweet people. I just like them so much. Anyways, last week we were in Denmark, it's been my hometown, so it's a new environment, and I'm getting over my jet lag slowly. Okay, so Neptune is also our creativity, because when we are really creative, we connect with all there is, and the inspiration comes from above through the crown chakra. So it's also Neptune opening up for our creativity, also music. I have a very, very well aspected Neptune to my sun. So it's in a grand trine, it's in my sister sign. So I always had this great connection. It's also intuition of you opening up for messages from your higher self, other people's higher selves, etc. For many of us, it's retrograde in our personal horoscope, and when it is, it takes a longer time before we learn how to manage Neptune, because it's also the planet of illusion, a disillusion. It's a planet of different kinds of toxins, poison. You know, like for example, too much medicine, drugs, too much alcohol, anything that makes you delusional. So it's also the idealism, where you imagine that the world is like this. You have pink glasses, you're wearing rose-colored glasses. I have Mercury and Venus in Pisces, so I know this tendency of wearing rose-colored glasses. Plus I have Mercury retrograding, but in a good aspect to my sun. So it took me a while to realize that actually often I was painting a picture of how, konnichiwa, of how the world is, and very often the world wasn't really like this. I was just painting, you know, for example, a partner to be all this glorified person, or a situation to be totally awesome, and then I realized, sit out, and then I realized that's a sign, finally, that I have this tendency. So when Neptune, for all of us, I'm saying this not because I want to speak of my own life, but because maybe you can use it as an analog to something in your life where you are disillusional. We all have Neptune somewhere in our chart, so it's not that anyone can say, okay, I don't have it. It's not. I'm always realistic. But for some people, it's not really that outspoken. But the thing is that as it moves retrograde, as it stations and stops, it's kind of like, okay, I had the feeling, for example, I was producing a lot. I don't know if you saw it in the beginning of the program, the light was bad. But I have been making a lot of the new walking art designs from my company, like this one. This is very, very Neptunian, you know, like energy floating and without any limits. It's also Aryan, because it's impulsive and a lot of energy, but all the colors, and you know, it's very Neptunian. And I had this, I really needed to finish 26 designs and creations in a short time. A stylist is going to have it here, or see it here in Japan. So I had to, you know, wrap it up fast, and I had this feeling I had to make it now. And it was not just because I know Neptune was going retrograde, it was because, you know, when it's stopping, because when it's stopping, that can be kind of like, okay, we've reached as far as we could with this planet, and now it's time to go back and then kind of like sort out in the garbage of what was an illusion, it could also be in relationships, because a lot of relationship stuff is going on with the oppositions. It's always you and someone else. So now it's time, over the next period of time, also with Mercury moving into the sister sign of where Neptune are, or it is already there, in Cancer, of start trying to communicate your inner feelings to your partner, and with Saturn in opposition also this week to Mercury, this will bring forward communication that is realistic from now on, and throughout the whole summer. These things are going on, you know, as we also have Jupiter trining, actually when trine is going to come also between different things going through Cancer. At one point Mercury, then the Sun comes into Cancer, so that we already had Venus there, and this is about the depth of things, but in a realistic way, because we have Jupiter in Scorpio putting a light on. Jupiter is the truth, in Scorpio is the depth of what's going on inside of us on a very deep level. And Neptune is going retrograde, cutting out the illusions, making you realize the truth about this person, about this relationship, about this situation in your life about yourself, because often we attract people. And it's a dove again. We attract people. I always say that whenever something's happening, it puts an emphasis. While I'm speaking, it's synchronicity, and it puts an emphasis. You can look up synchronicity and you'll see what it is. Jung was writing about it. It's interesting. Putting an emphasis upon what I'm saying. So this is about what I was just gonna say, that if you attract someone and this person annoys you in a way, it's probably, or just really triggers you, it's something you have to look within yourself. Is it something with me? Does this have to do with something with me? Somewhere where I have been too idealistic and not seeing things for what they were, going deep within and needing to change, because Scorpio, Jupiter is a deep transformation. How can I transform on a deep level? And sometimes we ask ourselves, oh, but this is such a deep thing. My mom and dad was always also like that, or the parent of the opposite sex of you often. When it comes to, because we also have Mars in opposition to Venus, between Leo and Aquarius. I'm trying to paint a picture here, and if you don't know about the planets, leave them out. Watch it again if you didn't get it, because the point is also in what I'm saying. Don't mention the planets. It's something to do with other people. It's often something we have with us from our past, repeating, being reflected in the outside world, whether you're single or you're with somebody. It can also be your own mind. Inside yourself, you're having a dialogue. Because with Mars in Aquarius, I also see the detachment, and we have had the Pluto opposition. So maybe your relationship ended, and now you are having the conversations inside your head. What went wrong in this relationship? And try not to blame life or God, or whatever you call it. Life, God, same thing for me. Try not to blame the person you were with, but try to look inwardly. We cannot always point fingers at others saying, oh, this was him and his past. Or this was her, this was my girlfriend and her past. When she confronted me with this, it had nothing to do with me. Because I'm fine. Pink glasses, Neptune. I'm just perfect as I am. So whenever we're having a conflict, it's just her doing, or him doing something wrong. Or it's also because her parents were like this and da-da. There's always something for us to learn as well. Okay, first mosquito bite of the year in Japan. Another sign. Emphasis upon this. We need to look inwardly. Also this week. Especially also because we have the sun going into Cancer, we have the solstice. So the sun, the identity, you, and how you perceive yourself, and feel your inner child coming up, and realizing what is actually going on inside of me, and how can I communicate this, and also get clarity with Mercury there. I can get some clarity about what's going on, about my emotions, because sometimes emotions are so fluid and you don't really know how to understand them. But with Mercury as being a planet of also lining things up in a rational, logical way, even though it's emotions and feelings, you'll get a better understanding. There's a dove just below me. How sweet! The doves here are not afraid. They come very close. Just as the feelings will come of you and other people will come very close this week. Here in Japan, people don't express their emotions so much out in the open, because they are very Librarian and always polite and keeping balance, never crossing any boundaries to other people, and there's this tendency of fear of overstepping someone's lines, personal circles, and with these aspects that have been going on, you know, it's also trying to find a balance between opening up. I'm mentioning them because they don't really open up so much, and I don't even know if we do it in our Western culture. Both opening up our hearts with an open mind. You have to have both. So, and remember, if you judge It's a closed heart. But if you recognize something objectively as an observer and see, okay, this is how it is, without needing to judge good, bad, then you have an open heart. Remember, you can always meditate. I opt for this, and I always mention heartfulness because I was meditating for 18 years. And heartfulness is a free organization of volunteers worldwide. And you get, I suggested it to someone who wrote me on the channel as well, and he said, I don't need help meditating, I can do it on my own. Yes, that's what we can. I did that for 15 years until I found heartfulness. In heartfulness there's transmission, there's a preceptor, it's called, we can call it a teacher, but it's more like someone who's giving transmission while you are meditating. I will make a program, I already made it actually with someone, a doctor from Denmark, a former doctor who explains this actually in a scientific way of what it does to you. I just need to edit the program, you can find it on my channel. It's Paul Yule, he is called. But you need to find a way of how to clean old things without getting stuck to it. Psychology very often makes you talk about things a lot. And you keep focusing upon it, and whatever we focus upon grows, because where attention goes, energy flows. Quantum physics, one of the basic rules. So, in heartfulness, for example, there's a technique where you just there's many other ways of doing it. So I'm not saying it's the only way. If there's some other way for you, go ahead, follow your heart. Don't follow trends, follow your heart is my motto. Heart is everywhere. And this is my ring finger, not my middle, by the way. I also have hearts here. The thing is that in heartfulness we have this cleaning process where we just release anything negative out the bag with imagine it's we just ask. This is kind of like prayer or intention. We put our intention to that any complexity leaves our body, our system, without the back of the spine as black smoke, and you just trust that this is happening, no matter if your rational mind goes, but how can we prove it? Try it. I said, get your own personal experience and see if it helps. But remember that if you say, no, this doesn't work, it will not work. That's how powerful our mind is. If you open up your mind and heart, then you will make a connection between the mind and the heart, and then we have the power to transform. Another sign came, because this was also important, as the cow passed by. So, I think this was the most important thing to be said about this week. Unless there was something I forgot. Let me see. But there's some good aspects between Mercury, the Mercury trine between, as I said before, the Mercury trine between Jupiter and Neptune and Mercury will definitely give you a broadened perspective on things. It will make you have a positive outlook. Be careful about the Mars-Venus opposition, that you don't overstep someone's boundaries, balance out the masculine and the feminine. I talked about that last week as well. And I will talk about it more in the individual sun signs. So thank you very much for following me, and for the very positive feedback that I get from sweet and kind people. Thank you so much. This means everything to me. I'm guided to do this, and I don't get anything for it. It takes 2 to 3 days every time to make it, to edit and upload. And I encourage you guys, if you have anything to contribute to the world, where it's just coming from an open heart, you don't expect anything in return, I will tell you that this is one of the most beneficial things you can do for yourself and for others. And remember, what we send out comes back. I get so much love back in return. Thanks for watching. And now to the other parts of the program, personal sun signs, and how to raise the different sun signs in short. There will be another program about raising your sun sign, your Aries daughter, your Gemini sun, your Capricorn daughter. There'll be a good long program about that also in the future, but for now I just make some small short tips. Thanks a lot. He. See, someone's working here. Sunday and everyone's out. Just saw the woman who praying like at every little temple. And if you notice the sticks close to the graves, they are different sayings. It can be the name of the one buried. It can also be a saying like, I was about to say YOLO, but you only live once. That's because in my Japanese class we were taught that Ohayou gozaimasu. We were taught that one sentence that meant that pretty much in English, but said in another way in Japanese. And that was one of the things we were. They made us write on a stick like that. So people are visiting. It's simple, just as I am. Oops, let me control the camera properly. It's Sunday here, so of course for them it's a day to come out and see the beautiful treasures of Japan. Hi there, Virgos. I was about to say fellow Virgos because I have so much in Virgo, so I'm not a Virgo, but I have Moon, North Node and Saturn in Virgo, and also parts of my 10th house, which is my work. What I'm doing right now is Virgo, so Leo and Virgo. So what's going on for you guys this week? Well, the Sun is accompanying your planet, your ruler Mercury, in Cancer, and this is of course highlighting whatever's going on here in this sector for you. And this is your 11th house. It's where you are out about in the world, connecting to other people, networking, getting new ideas about the future. What do you want to manifest in your life? What is it that because Mercury, your planet, is about getting new ideas, thinking of things through rationally, and also intuitively, as it's in Cancer here, and that's a planet of intuition and feeling into how can we plan out this future of ours, and getting a broader perspective of how things are in your life. But the little, catch here is that catch 22, no, just catch, is that it's going to go into opposition with Pluto and Black Moon Lilith, but let's leave her out of the picture just for now. So what does it mean? Well, we talked about that Mercury here is shaping some ideas and your plans about the future, etc., and you have a certain idea about this is how things are going to be. And you think, yes, we're reaching that point, you're gaining momentum with this, and now the Sun comes and brings her, or his, maybe more his, spark and light upon things, energy, boosting it, But it's not that Pluto is a neutral planet, it has a lot of oomph, even though it's so small. So when it meets up in opposition with all these plans that you have with your friends and your circles and the community you're in, it might be, because it's in your 5th house, that something with your children, or just something with a romantic partner of yours, depending on how old you are, of course, and if you're in a relationship. Or but these are just, I'm just mentioning, you just have to fill in the blanks if your situation is different and try to feel, okay, in my life, how is this getting reflected? Something to do with, again, romantic partners, or your children, or something to do with the whoever represents this more tenacious part of your life. Is going to be passionate about something that goes in contrast with these good ideas that you have about the future, and a balance needs to be found, you know. And very often in these oppositions, which is between you know, with 180 degrees, is always about meeting other people, someone else on the other side of the table, being eye to eye with someone. The personal planet often represents us, being Mercury in this case here in Cancer, you with all your ideas and connections and networking and in opposition could represent the parent of the opposite sex, for example, from your past, and you repeating this pattern, making it play out in your life now, so that you can see that this pattern is there and perhaps change it if it needs to be changed. So it can be someone suddenly telling you, well, you did not raise your child well enough. Something to do with children, and someone who's like very passionate and say it in a very way that may be feeling like it hits you in the stomach psychologically, where it hurts and you feel all drained by it. Or it could be that maybe your partner suddenly wants children. You didn't want to have any more children. You were wanting to enjoy the free life of the 11th house with your friends, etc. But now your partner wants another child, and this goes against your plans. Or it could also be, oh, there's a feather falling there over there as I'm saying this. So this is apparently a very important thing for this week. That some kind of issue with someone that goes against what you were planning in one way or the other, or some opposition, because we at the same time have Venus in your 12th house, where at the same time as you're having all this energy to going out and about to different circles of yours, joining the different groups that you're in, etc., you also need to withdraw, because Venus, wherever Venus goes, she creates beneficial aspects, and she's a benefic planet, which means that she brings a good positive light wherever she goes. And in your 12th house, you need to spend time on your own, feel free, and you know, free to be you wherever you are, to spend time alone and withdraw, and you know, do things behind the curtains, have your own secrets, have it your way, maybe revealing some hidden enemies of yours. But just, you know, the fact that you need time on your own, but this is in contrast with Mars, which is, you know, not like Pluto, but, you know, Mars is the co-ruler of both Scorpio and Aries, which are ruled by Pluto. So this is a forceful planet too, that just wants it their way, and in your 6th house. So again, it's something between you and other people, like you want to withdraw, but someone else wants you to work, and maybe you meet someone from your past, you know, 12th house, and there's some sparkles there's some fire come between you guys, not necessarily sexually, but could be also with this 5th, 11th house thing going on. There could be maybe reigniting some passion within a existing relationship. So what you need is just also to always be aware of that. If you always criticize someone else, or if you always, not always, but you know, we Virgos, I'm not Virgo again, but I'm very Virgo with a lot of planets there, are the critical sign, you know. So this is a sign that sees every detail, everywhere. So this is a sign that's able of spotting the little error and thereby fixing it. It's a natural healer in many senses, not only of health, but also, you know, could also be a health issue. By the way, with Mars there in your 6th house, maybe something, you know, you want to withdraw, but there's something you need to do. You need to exercise. You need to go out there and do something for your health, just as you wanted to meditate somewhere. Something is just forcing you to go out there and get some exercise and be healthy, in a way. But as we can be, or Virgo can be critical of other people, you have to remember that this week there's a lot of attention upon relationships. And if you always notice mistakes within yourself as well, you probably also do with other people. So it's actually reflecting how you treat yourself, because you are so harsh on yourself, you know. You see this little thing and oh no, you make it big, because that you only see the error. Perhaps this is a downside of Virgo, so perhaps you already learned this, but this you tend to also do with other people. And the problem is that here with the Venus is in the conjunction with the North Node Moon in Leo, and that's about following your heart, opening your heart. To follow your heart is also to open your heart, also towards other people. And the problem is that if you criticize, and Aquarius is also the critic of the Leo that is on the stage. So with Mars there being a little direct in your 6th house, it can be someone else criticizing you, or you can criticize someone else. But the problem is that the whole point of the North Node is that this is where we want to go. And that's conjuncting Venus, a benefic that's full of love and compassion, in Leo that wants to follow the heart. But the criticism will block the heart. Judgment and criticism very often is a sign of that you closed your heart to someone. And the problem is that they feel that, and they will close their heart to you, and maybe not dare to, just like you would. I mean, if someone criticizes you for sharing your truth, or sharing something from deep within you, or just sharing something that is you, and this is being criticized, you also withdraw fast as a Virgo. You are like, okay, I learned from this. Rationally, next time I see a similar situation with this person, I'll just withdraw instead of staying open, because it's a natural reaction. If you get whipped by a whip, and next time you see the whip, you just don't do whatever you did last time where you felt like you got whipped. So remember to treat others with this respect that you also want. It's about finding that balance, you know. We also have Neptune stationing in your 7th house, and it's forming good aspects to Jupiter over there, which is expanding your 4th house. So with this in mind, it's again, the 7th house is about relationships. It's about creativity within relationships. It's about that your relationships is often, or can be, actually the need to not have the boundaries between you and anyone else or anything, you know, just like the contact with God is to feel all there is. It's how I would express the times that I am in that state and condition. And since the 7th house is in Pisces for you guys, it's about, you know, learning to just balance, always wanting to categorize things with letting go, releasing. You know, Neptune is gonna uncover whatever illusion that is keeping you from releasing the things that you need to release in order to have a great relationship. And then you can expand your family and your foundation and your grounding. And sometimes you need to chinmo kusuru. I wrote here on this bracelet. Chinmo kusuru means keep quiet. Sometimes it's better not to speak. Don't follow trends, follow your heart. Thanks for watching. Remember, you can subscribe to the channel, Maria and Rainbow Land, and get a notification every week when the new report is out. See ya! So I was forced to move. So if this is a sudden scene change, they closed down the temple, and I'm recording this at the end of the whole setting. So the light is getting dim, and the sound is the noise is getting louder because I have moved closer to the street. And this is the extra little thing for this week. I always make an extra thing, and this week it's about how to raise the different signs. Ouch! This chain is holding on to my hair. That's a sign of what I'm gonna say. Okay, so I'm not saying that I'm an expert or anything like that at all. I'm just looking into each sign and imagine a kid what they will need to learn from the beginning of their life if they are a typical example of their sign. I will make a whole series of programs about this later on. I'm not saying when, because I think it's a very interesting thing about astrology and how to raise children, because the awareness of that your child chose to be a certain sign is telling you a lot about how you can help this child in this life. A lot. That's why I even opted for astrology in the first case, because very early on you will already have a perspective of what this child needs to learn, not only from its sun sign, but if you see the whole chart, you will really see some themes, and you will also see yourself reflected in it. That's the interesting part if you're the parent. Okay, so there's a song that I want to sing just a few lines of because it reminds me of this, and it's the Fuji song that says, "Ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. I'm gonna find you and make you. Ready or not, here I go, you can't hide. I'm gonna find you and take it slowly." So, why do I sing this song? Actually, I sang the wrong line at first. The reason why I chose this song is that my experience or impression of how it is for parents to get a child is that whether you are ready or not, you are gonna get some truth revealed about your life when you get a child, and you'll be tried and tested in all ways possible, in your insecurities and everything, because they are gonna mirror whatever you suppress as well. You know, I can see that with myself. I have my own example as I have been mirroring what my parents have been suppressing. So, and I've also been mirroring the beautiful things, but also the challenges. You know, you can't hide. I'm gonna find you and take it slowly. So slowly, we need, our parents need to just accept and acknowledge that these trials are huge, and you cannot hide anything. You can't hide. It's gonna find you. So whatever it is that you don't want to see about yourself, the children will show you. So this was not only what this program was going to be about. We're going to start with Aries. Man, it's getting dark fast. I hope that we can get to finish it. So we are in a new setting here because it got too dark, the batteries ran out, and sometimes you just got to listen to the universe. So we start with Aries. So the Aries kid is the very, very lively, you know, full of sparkles and energy, and he's, he loves to just give it to the max, and has a lot of new spontaneous ideas, and starts a lot of projects, and you need to teach this kid to try to learn to finish what he starts, or not start that many, because it can be a stressful one later on in life. So they can also be suddenly very angry, and then and they're shouting and yelling, and then quickly they calm down again. So you're dealing with hot temper, aggressiveness, and they're also the natural leaders, the first sign, so they know which way to go, and therefore they can be a little bit bossy. So you gotta, early on in life, try to encourage your little Aries daughter or son to get some good values, so that they can use the fire and the feisty fighting spirit to fight for the good, for love, or stuff like that. So the interesting part here is that I chose to take the section with the raising out and make a video of its own, and that is a video which is on top of my channel. So you just go in there and find it through there, or I'll place the video in the text below so that you can just go directly to it once you're done. And remember, this is a part of the program this week, so I hope you will go and watch it. It's fun, and it's about all signs and how they are better, how you in the best way can try to understand the kid, the Aries kid, the Taurus kid, the Leo kid, the Scorpio kid, the Aquarius kid, and how to raise them. But also, even though you're an adult, how you could have been raised better. But then again, I'm not an expert, so I'm not saying that I know it all, but I just know that the video would have been too long if I had placed it all together. It would have been more than 1 hour and 45 minutes. So check it out on the channel. See you next time. Don't miss out on it. Look how each sign needs to be raised.
Summer, summer, summertime. Summertime. Så du min, og jeg vild med dig. Summer, summer, summertime.